Good evening from Super League HQ. Fifey here, as is traditional on a Sunday. And if you have tuned in ready for witty repertoire, banter, and all-round general humour, then I'm afraid that is in short supply, because tonight I am only joined currently by Mr. Steve Wright, as Mr. Smuts has got himself delayed getting his tea. But no doubt, Steve, we will be able to, well, not so much the humour that Man United managed to do this afternoon for everyone, but we'll try our best.
We will indeed, mate. We will indeed.
How are you, pal? How's things?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Chance today to drag ourselves off the bottom. Previous 2 seasons, we've managed to stay away from being bottom. So let's hope we can keep that going this season.
And just if we click onto the table quickly, what do you think to the sort of race to not finish bottom at the minute? Obviously, only 2 points separate yourself from Hools and Dragons. Then you've got Churchtown and Gazelles. Are they kind of out of reach of you at the minute? 6 points.
On the face of it, no. But the way, I mean, obviously that result that Churchtown had Wednesday night, I think there's more questions asked of, can they put a press on for the 6? Gazelles can turn up at any time as well, and are more likely to get results than the 3 of us that are down there. So, yeah, I think it's between us 3. At this present minute in time, it's difficult to see past Jens just because of his. I mean, I know I've only scored 4 more goals than him, but a lack of goals, especially from the front line he's got. The thing that will probably keep Dragons off the bottom, I do feel, is their attacking prowess. I mean, you look at how many goals they've scored. There's only Foolchester there that I can see. I don't know about other 2 above that have, scored. So 2 teams in the whole league have scored more than them, which is. I mean, I think it's probably a bit of a testimony to the way they all worked last season with all 3 of them. Yeah. Talking between each other and really digging it. I know Jamie's been a little bit not had as much time for it this season, which is obviously why Smuts got involved. But yeah, I think it's probably between me and Jens at this present minute, I would say.
Okay. And when you look at the current top 6 before we kick a ball tonight, is there anyone there that you look at and think, I don't believe they will finish in the top 6? Or is there anyone just below the dotted line that you think I can see them getting into the top 6?
I genuinely think that the main spot for grabs is at 6th place.
Okay.
If Rob doesn't sort of start picking a couple of results up again, like we know he's more than capable of, he can put 4 or 5 past any team in the league any given day. So yeah, that looks like the one up for grabs. I mean, Aston have gone really well, and it's sort of feeling like there could be a little bit of a point where they might start getting a couple of tricky results as you come into the last 6 games. You can never write Greavesy off because he'll just shithouse his way to best of his ability. And we all know the strength that Aggies have got in the squad. And again, look at the 2 below, I mean, that result for Dimble could really set some morale going and get them going.
Well, that was actually, that was actually my next question, because I said to you, are they out of reach of you 6 points? And you've said no. So are you saying that 6th place isn't out of reach for either of those either?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. All it takes is, I mean, I think 4 wins. 4 wins will put them in contention. It's whether somebody can get that 5th win to take them over that edge from the last 6 games. They've both got squad. Well, I think Duggan's got a bit more of a squad capable of doing it, but Dimble's just like shackles off now. I think he was more of it in terms of he was just trying to hold his own more than anything, and then just decided he's just going to take his shackles off and look what's happened. So I think he just decided we'll just go for it for the rest of the season, and why not?
Having a quick look at the fixtures, just to confirm what we spoke about off air. Jens has asked if he can be on early, so we're going to start with Sloths v Hools. We'll obviously finish with your game, by which time Smuts might have actually turned up for the shift. It wasn't that I asked him; he volunteered and said, "I'll do this one." So he might have turned up by then. Also, Mr. Megahorse has asked to be on late, so we will make sure that the Loco Leddersford game is the penultimate fixture. But if you're ready to get going, Steve, then let's head to Sloths v Hools.
Indeed.
Okay, so here is the home side. Zé Roberto being back is obviously the the first thing everyone will spot there. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on the sort of central defensive three, if you like, if you include Desai in that, Woodgate and Richards just behind him.
I mean, he's been, even regardless from 35 now, he's been fantastic again this season. Dean Richards has far more than held his own when he's played. He's had a couple of nines, if I'm led to believe, if I remember rightly. And he's more than good enough for a spot, either as a bench or coming in for a few games. Woodgate over Guerrero is probably the one that does sort of make you think a little bit, because we all know how good Guerrero is and how good he's been for Rob previously. But yeah, you know, they're strong enough and more than capable enough of keeping him out. But I think it shows there with lack of appearances for Woodgate that I might be onto a little bit of truthfulness. But yeah, obviously have to keep it conceding all them goals. You can't say much for him changing it up. And he's gone back to the formation that absolutely blew a lot of teams away last season. So.
And I can see Duggan saying genuinely those circles look thick. This is the same tactic that he's had for a number of weeks. It's not been pulled up at all, so I'm not unduly concerned of any underhand tactic going on here. I'm pleased to say, Steve, that your partner in crime for tonight has finally decided to turn up. Good evening, Mr. Smuts.
Morning. How we doing?
Very well.
Literally walked straight past the missus to get straight on here as best I can. Not even said hello to her yet today. So
what, all day?
Literally all day. Yeah. Started at 11 this morning. Been in 7 to 8 seconds.
Well, on behalf of the entire CM community, good evening to Mrs. Smuts.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, don't ever question my commitment.
I will allow you then, sir, to have a look at this Hall's team for tonight's game. And what's your initial thoughts?
Well, I think we all know my initial thoughts. Stop playing two at the back, you fucks. I don't know a lot about Kutzatov.
Well, he's actually one of a few players that we're going to see tonight that has just been called back up from the reserves.
Fair play. There you go. You're looking like. I would have played Rivaldo instead, but 20 finishing. He's got plenty of decent stats, in fairness. And if you're not scoring plenty of goals with those two up front.
Well, obviously, that's the interesting quandary that Halls have had all season. It started with the two up top. Jens was adamant he was going to stick with two up top. It simply didn't work. He went to one up top. At times, Van Nistelrooy didn't even make the bench, and now we're back to a two up top.
Well, we'll see how it goes then. See how it works. I mean, Hull's burning hell. Wow. Is that burn on your own team? Or were you expected to be playing Burn FC and you've done the wrong tactic? We'll see.
Steve, if I could take your prediction first, please, sir, and then I will ask Mr. Smuts while we wait for a few in the comments as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to see from a Sloss bit of a backlash here. Personally, I probably would have started Sand over Mantaras because he's had some good games when he has played for him. But I'm going to go a 2-goal victory for Sloss, whether that be 3-1 or 2-0.
Okay. And Smuts?
Well, I mean, first off, I appreciate Duggan giving me the respect there that I would last 7 to 8 seconds. That is obviously including foreplay, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a tight one. We don't see a lot of goals in Super League anymore, so I think I'm going to go 1-0 Slots here.
Well, I'm seeing in the chat 3-1-2-1. Jens predicting 5-0 to Sloths. Sloths saying 4-0 Halls. Duggan 3-0 and Greavesy with a 0-0. Let's kick off the first half and see which we get. Do we get a goal fest or not? Rui Costa with his first goal after just 4 minutes has set us off nicely for the evening. Not what Jens will want to see at all, though. And Zé Roberto setting up Dean Richards, who we spoke about pre-match, makes it 2.
Like I said, there's not going to be many goals.
Your predictions are
my
as
sensational ability to predict a football game on Chat Manager in the Super League continues.
We are seeing a few more of the attacking names in the Hull side getting involved. They're a side that obviously prefer to be 2-0 down and then try and get back into it. We've seen a few of those recently, both in Champ and in real life. It doesn't always work. But Van Nistelrooy, of all people on the stroke of half-time, does give the away side a lifeline. Steve, Sloth's largely dominant, but that goal does give Hools a chance, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible. 2-1 in this game. It's probably one of the worst scorelines. 2-0, 2-1.
Can we just ring the clacks? And there's the first traditional football cliche thrown in. 2-1 is the most dangerous score. Fucking hell, we're going to have a few of these tonight if you're throwing it in already, Steve.
Jesus wept, Steve. You made me sick as a parrot there. This game of two halves could go either way.
But no, I think that formation, like I spoke about earlier, it's done what it did for majority of last season for Rob as well, putting back on front foot. And it's just about Ulf's trying to hold it out. But Dean Richards, like I say, a couple of nines that I've seen him have, and yeah, he's bossing it again. And then obviously I question Johnny Woodgate being in there, but he's keeping them out as well. Considering they've only had 3 attempts and 2 on target, I think both centre halves have they've done what they get on 8s. Because they've just basically got everything that's been at them. So.
And there is a change being made with Sand coming on for Pizarro at half-time.
Yeah, well, obviously he's on the fix, and he's had a couple of good performances after being in Wilderness for all the time. I think since Rob's had him, so in this iteration. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes on.
I'd just like to thank everyone in the chat already getting involved in cliche bingo, as Duggan goes with big goal before half time, and Ian with Hull showing a lot of character. Mr. Smuts, you had the joy of looking at the Hulls team before kick-off. Now you've seen the first half performance. What are you picking out from those stats?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've obviously thrown the dice there with their 2 up top formation. Changed a bit, and yeah, they'd got that big goal just before half time. Probably put a bit of swaz on that. Stopped him getting the
what the fuck? Yeah.
Stopped him getting the chairman's curly finger in sacking. Obviously, other cliches. I'm sure there's plenty of them.
There'll be plenty, I'm sure.
Hopefully, that Sloths will get another goal here and really put the game to bed.
Rivaldo is coming on at half time, and it is someone obviously you mentioned before. I don't know if either of you noticed, but Neil Clement has actually made the bench for the first time this season as well.
Yeah, it says to me that he might be trying to sell him, and he's got 13 games to try and get in,
and only 6 games, including this one, remaining this season.
Well, yeah, they count for double though, don't they? Away goals and away performances.
Away appearances.
Away appearances, yeah.
Let's see how the subs affect the second half then, as we kick off. Excuse me. And Hulls with the first chance of the half, but Sloth's coming right back at them. Certainly an end-to-end opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's another one for the cliche bingo.
And it's a penalty, and Zé Roberto has surely wrapped it up already.
And another one.
That's something like 10 between us in this first game.
That's it. The dressing room's going to be buzzing now. They'll be bouncing. I think they're going to be over the moon, I'll be honest.
Simeone is gone off injured. I imagine it'll be Ricardinho.
Get Van der Sar on.
And I'm sure Jens is preparing the comment, we go again next week, just waiting for full time.
Yeah, I mean, Simeone's been really good, hasn't he, in that central midfield role. It's somewhere I've never played him, as a lot of people know I'm not a fan of the majority of DMCs there, and he's done really solid. So,
done well in the engine room, you could say, Steve, couldn't you?
But indeed, but I'm not buying into this. But 28 minutes to go and losing that defensive steal out of there. They've got enough to get Armageddon goals.
Yeah, I've just seen. So we've made the sub, and it was as expected. Ricardinho's come on, and I've just seen a couple of comments in the chat, which I do want to come back to. The one that's made me chuckle just then is Jens saying himself that Jens is at the wheel. We've not slowed this one down so that we don't put Jens through too much misery. He doesn't deserve it. He's too nice a guy. We've got to full time. It was 3-1 to the Sloths, and stats suggest it was an even game.
Yeah, that's. It didn't really seem that from the text that they put them under that much pressure, but it shows there's still something ticking there. And I don't know, with Rivaldo a bit central to that, creating a bit more. probably so. I would have thought, but it's certainly not a performance to be disheartened by, regardless of scoreline. They've matched them over the 90, haven't they?
No, and let's swap it round this time, Steve. So you can have a look at Halls. As Dimble asked, you've got to question whether he's lost the dressing room, just for another cliche. When you look at those stats, do you think the players are still playing for him?
I mean, obviously, there's only 3 sort of under average performances there. Liverani, I'm not.
Agree.
I don't really get him on the game. I know a lot of people love him. Never going to have him in DM or central midfield. He's certainly not one that I like, but. Yeah, he's letting down a bit there, only winning one of his tackles. But I mean, Sol Campbell's doing what Sol Campbell's been doing most of the season. He's been really, really solid for Jens and Thuram at the side of him. So, yeah, I think they've been a bit like we have in most games. They've been in all the games, but it's just getting that ball in back at net, which we struggle with as well, which is really hindering them.
Back of the onion bag, yeah.
And Smart, say Roberto getting man of the match. In other news, the sky is currently black and the temperatures are dropping. No surprise to see that at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a bit of a mercurial talent, isn't he? And I think you're right. I think Hall's there. The dressing room's gone. I think Jens has lost the dressing room there. I think it probably it was hardly a ding dong battle. Wasn't really a clash of the Titans or anything, but fair play, Sloths.
Please stop. And I just want to...
Steve Wright spot on with his prediction as well, I will say.
He was bang on. That's a great start for Steve. I just want to go back to Greavesy's comment in the chat. Pizarro getting pulled off at halftime. I only ever got an orange. That's certainly one for you, Mr. Smuts. So congratulations to Sloths. Halls' difficult season unfortunately continues for the god that is Jens. But I am still confident that he can turn it around. Obviously not this season, going into next. Better days are coming, as the hit song suggests. Let's move on.
Probably a good result for both of us, in fairness, isn't he? He's down the business end of the table.
Correct.
And obviously we've got a massive 6-pointer later on in the evening. I've got loads of these, mate.
Mac has decided that even he isn't letting Jens have the time off with his comment, what is with Norwegian managers and squads with superstar forward lines?
Well, Ronaldo, as I have been telling you, Per, today, can fuck right off. That prick was one shot away from winning me £131 off a free bet, so he can go fuck himself.
So, Smuts, you did the away team last time, so I'll let Steve take Asta for this game away at Haggis. A slight tweak of the formation. What do you think as you see this, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Tato he likes his wingers, as he does on a lot of home saves and things that he posts. Whether Francisco Arca is probably the answer on the right wing, but maybe not. I'm surprised he hasn't really gone for Rayad there with... we're really switching that little bit of forward line around, but he's been doing all right there. Scally can do that. He can move forward into centre midfield. He can do just as well there. It's one of them. You just tip your hat off to him for what he's been doing this season with that squad. He obviously dealt a really rough hand with what he took over.
And what we all really love about football is it's a game of opinions. And just in the chat, you've got Macca saying ballsy and Sloth saying I hate it.
Yeah. Well, he's been at this for majority of the last God knows how many games, hasn't he? So, Bashuk over Sami Hyypiä, he's been, what he's been winning. I can't see why he'd change it. I probably wouldn't do that myself, but. They've got enough there, solidly enough at back to try and keep teams out. And it doesn't get them miffs going up top.
And as you know, this was the week where teams were allowed to make some reserve swaps again. Adolfo is promoted and back in the 11. Robbie Fowler has also come back. He gets a place on the bench. There was a third player who... Davies is the other player who has been recalled but doesn't make the team for this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I do look at is, that's the best version of Adolfo I can probably say I've seen as well, which really surprises me that he hasn't played more for Asta. But knowing what Tato likes of his little quirky players, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. And again, difficult game to call.
And
It's really odd that this team is doing very well, because genuinely, outside of Hoffland, maybe Hoopier at a push, and then Saviola, you've not got any players there that you would say are genuinely world class.
Well, it's interesting, and I've just seen Mr. Edwards' comment that the midfield battle's a big ask for Scally and Foe. Smuts, when you look at this and you see that they're going to go up against Vieira, Mendieta, Danielson, do you agree?
It's exactly the opposite of what I just said. This team is literally rammed full of class. Shevchenko up top, fantastic. Vieira, probably the best player on the game. Ashley Cole, world-class left-back. Yap Stam in there is brilliant. Cordoba's brilliant. Mendieta, one of the best players on the game. You know, you've got class running throughout that team. For me, this team should be doing far better than it is. They got a very lucky 0-0 draw last week, or earlier in the week, against an absolute dogshit team in the Dragons, who played 4 at the back and still couldn't get a result. So,
and obviously it's been a main discussion point this season, but as it's changed, we can now ask if we're expecting, or what we're expecting, different. Guerrero, who has been very good for the most part this season, quite a high rating there as well, obviously 18 appearances. He's dropped to the bench, and Vieira goes into the position where most people would naturally play him.
Yeah, rightly so. It's a discussion I've had with Jamie and myself this week about Davids having your best defensive midfielder playing in defensive midfield. For me, is vital. It's the most important position on the game. It is the most overpowered position on the game, and no matter what you're losing elsewhere, for me, always play the best defensive midfielder in defensive midfield. Saying that, I don't think we're playing Davids in defensive midfield today.
Well, I was going to say, let's just wait and see what your team says when we get to the game. Steve, your prediction for this one, please.
2-1 Haggis.
2-1 to Haggis, which, I mean, this is a huge game for the chasing pack in the top 6. Smuts, what are you thinking?
Well, obviously, Duggan's right there. Tato does have the luxury of having played the tactics for both teams here. So you've got to say he will probably win this one. Even with, as I've just said, the weaker team on paper. Mm-hmm. So I think he'll sneak it 2-0.
And I know this doesn't affect anyone watching on YouTube, but Steve, just be aware, I don't know if it's the same for you, but if I'm just like conk out halfway through this episode because of the seemingly strobe lighting going on in Smuts' kitchen.
I have no idea what is going on there.
Then please just take over. I can see Duggan was first in with a 2-2, Ian Edwards going 1-0, Sloths, Desmond and Greavesy again going, he loves a 0-0. Does that boy? Oh, and after 5 minutes, Mike Duff has picked up an injury. Good evening, Swan, who's joined us just in time to see Mike Duff's injury. Nothing else had happened in the game. Steve, in what would you be expecting the change to be when you see those subs?
Mendieta right wing back, Vieira push back up to where he's been playing, and Elguera in the centre for me. That's probably where I think his mindset will be. Mm-hmm. But
there's not a lot else on the bench, to be fair.
Unless he just went really balls deep and put Bruno on. Put Mendieta right wing back and pulled Riziki back. Put Bruno in behind, who he got when we played him the other week. He scored against us after saying somebody said that he wasn't really good, blah, 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 and he scored after about 4 or 5 minutes against us. So
it's always the way. The curse of the com and co-coms. Ian is in the chat, so we'll just give him a second. Here we go. Mendieta to right back.
Exactly as we said. So,
and I'm presuming, if you can just confirm, Mr. Campbell, you want it swapping like that as well, because you've not actually specified.
If he's not specified, carry on.
We'll give him 30 seconds. We know that his connection in Edinburgh has always been the least accurate of all the Super League managers. So
he said yes, but yeah, in fairness, he has got the border to get through. He is literally in a different country, so fair enough.
Although
what is effectively a third world country as well. So.
Well, let's just remember that Jens was very quick to reply, and he's a lot further away from me than Ian is. It is Asta, and it is Adolfo who opens the scoring on 23 minutes, proving a point to the manager. But Saha, who is back in the team today, at the expense of, I believe it was Salas, he has also scored. People out proving a point. Zizi Roberts with his 10th of the season. Oh no, Smuts is on. We know what's coming at half-time when he analyses that. And Saviola makes it 3-1. Well, we're certainly getting goals, lads. And Steve, even game, it's just Asta are very effective in front of goal.
Yeah, I mean, Zizi Roberts been doing what Zizi's been doing all season.
He is top, in fairness.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, Adolfo, again, that version of Adolfo has got a place in the league. It's just how often can that Adolfo turn up in the league. But yeah, I think big call by Tato bringing him back. He's doing Adolfo things that he does for normal people when you're in conference or
and the Super League certainly is not the conference, is it?
No, definitely not. But yeah, you know what? That's he'll be absolutely delighted with that. I'll be surprised if he makes any changes whatsoever.
And interestingly, so let's shine a light on Adolfo as you're talking about in there. If you look at like his passing and stuff, he's not been overly involved, has he?
No, I mean he's only completed 6 of the 8 he's had. It'd be interesting to see if he's got an assist for either of them other 2 goals or come end the game because that creativity up at 20 as well. I think
no,
he hasn't. But Scally with that arrow up it can be a bit of an assist machine when he's a bit further upfield.
Yeah, it's also worth commenting on the Scally arrow that when Barry Ferguson made it very popular in the previous Devils squad, that Tato was the one who was very critical of the diagonal arrow.
But Neil Scally is a DMC and Barry Ferguson isn't, so he probably won't even argue back at that point. I
believe Neil Scally is also to some considered a myth, and Barry Ferguson was actually a real player.
Neil Scally's shit.
Literally
2 weeks ago, I told one of Neil Scally's friends that he was shit to him. And I by that.
Tato's going as is, so let's have a look at Haggis as where's that quote from Macca? Absolute affront to decency, this. Would you agree? I mean, you were saying how the squads, on paper, are like chalk and cheese.
Exactly. And I don't know how chalk is winning at the minute when cheese is absolutely delicious and chalk is not very tasty.
I mean, Casillas is a player who gets spoken about a lot. He's doing what he does and throwing in a 5 at completely the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, Pleticosa is probably a better keeper for me on this. Obviously, Casillas went on in real life to have a fantastic career, but in 2001, 2002, he was very early on in his career, and I don't think he is as highly programmed, shall we say, as most people think he should have been. Not like a Buffon, for instance,
Swap Guerrero with Mendieta? Like, what, just like that?
Yeah, and then Guerrero to DM.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like, why? I mean, no subs from either manager, it would appear, at half-time. Do you expect the quality of the Haggis side, Steve, to get them back in this, or the confidence that Asta will have, given their performances for the most part of this season? Do you expect them to see it out?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the from here on in, I think if Haggis still get back into it, I can see a draw at very best. But I think it goes to show more than anything where people talk about having the team of superstars does not work at times. And I think Tato's proving that fact more than anything this season.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at the difference between the teams, as we said at the start of the game.
And sorry to jump in, because I believe that commentary just said that I've missed the quote there, but Shevchenko with a sublime goal, I think, might have been the or a sensational goal. One of the two. So we'll slow it down.
It was certainly a goal.
There was certainly a goal by Shevchenko, and there was a quote of some description to say there was an element of quality to it. Haggis certainly pushing for the equaliser here. Asta having to be resolute. I always enjoy when you see that Vieira is being tackled by Scally, and it just makes you realise how absurd this game can be at times. Oh, it's a penalty!
Oh dear.
Do we slow this right down on 82 minutes just to build the tension?
I think you've got to at this point.
That penalty will take a bloody age, won't it?
And there is also a red card as well for the goalkeeper. So, Mr. Tato, who is coming off? And are we backing Cavallero to save this?
It's got to be Rayad looking at that for me, and just leave the rest of the team set up as it is. But
who says he's going to put Cavallero in goal?
So it is Rayad coming off for Cavallero. And yeah, I think that covers that. Duggan, this is massive. Macca, just remember we've all got work tomorrow. Yes, as have I. And no doubt Smuts is again going to try and sell me stuff at a very expensive price.
Right, so.
Let's take the penalty then. Put both managers out of their misery. And it is a goal. It is 3-3. And Mendieta with his 5th of the season.
Same amount of goals as Shevchenko, I might add.
Will we get a winner in these closing minutes?
Probably not.
Well, we had a 6-goal thriller at least. And the thing is that's a massive red card as well, because since he's come in, he's been an excellent goalkeeper for Asta.
Obviously, this is just because I said that they're mostly low-scoring games in Super League as well.
The game has finished 3-3. Haggis certainly piled the pressure on in that second half. And Steve, when you look at the stats, would you say they deserved the draw?
At least deserve the draw. I think it's probably a bit more even to say they deserve to turn it around and win it. But fantastic second half from them, and I think Ian will be delighted with the fact that they put pressure on and got a lot of goals. It's just that you just worry, don't you, a bit with that core of defensive strength they've got, conceding 3 early goals like that. It's a bit of a one-off for Haggis this season, but nice to see Lewis R come back in. Get a bit of a chance. I can see why he's not played as well. But yeah, come in, get a goal. And Shevchenko doing. I think he's always been difficult for people to get a tune out of, haven't they? In this league, and I think he's been on the majority. He's been good, regardless of not having the greatest amount of goals. He seems to have contributed quite a bit with a decent rate. And
Smuts, a little word on Asta, who was it Duggan? I'm just checking through the comments again quickly. Yeah, that they looked dominant. They looked very much in control, and this is definitely 2 points dropped, isn't it?
Very much so. And you've got to look at the keeper there, who was on a 9 before he got a red card. I will point that out. Who unfortunately has let his team down there. He's let his family down. He's let himself down.
He brought Saha down in the area, and the penalty was awarded.
Yeah, there you go. You look at the teams on paper there, and you say, yeah, Haggis should have done better there. But manager on manager, you've got to say that Tato's done very, very well this season with the limited resources he's got there, and he will look at this as 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained. So lucky. So we're into that.
Now, quite an interesting game, and what again promises to be a very good game. We've got Northern Burn versus Foolchester. Smuts, I believe it's your turn with the away side. Couple of changes. Sees Yepes come in, Butts come in, Beckham returns as well. Another team on paper you like the look of?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few sort of early noughties late 90s Man United players there, and obviously the one that's missing is Paul Scholes, and I think we all know where I'm going here. Who at this time sort of seemed like he'd got the world at his feet, and now in 2021 he's yes, exactly that. He's got his daughter's feet in his mouth, so very different. But yeah, that is a team absolutely stacked. That front six is disgusting. David Prutton always gets very good on this, and we're obviously a few seasons in. Nicky Butt has been probably the outstanding player for Foolchester for the season as well.
He's been the outstanding player. He's been one of the top 5 players in the league since this incarnation of the Super League, easily.
Exactly. So you're looking at that team and you expect that to be well up at the top end of the table.
Everyone says he's there to break up the play, but be the dirty tackling midfielder. But if you look last year, he got 7 assists. Should he be contributing more in that sort of side of the game?
Well, you look at 0 assists, 0 goals. Obviously, you're not expecting him to be scoring, but you hope to get an assist here or there out of him, and that will maybe make the difference. But you've got 6 players in front of him there who should be doing a lot more of the attacking.
This guy being the main instigator.
Exactly. And then obviously with Beckham and Giggs down the right and left, you've got a lot of attacking force there. So yeah, he should be doing okay.
And Steve, there's a couple of Burn have had to change it a bit lately, with obviously Roy Keane permanently being suspended every other game and a couple of injuries and stuff. But they're somewhere back to their strongest 11, would you say, here?
Yeah, I probably think this is probably what Ian had put out mostly. I think he would rather have something else there in midfield and have Roy Keane drop back. But yeah,
well, interestingly, because I've looked at this a few times and he has played Roy Keane further forward. For me, the only one he would want to change personally would be to have Cannavaro in instead of Novotny. I think other than that, he'd be quite content that this is his strongest team.
Yeah, definitely. The thing that you look at there on the bench, he hasn't put a striker on the bench. So obviously Thierry Henry can move up if anything happens to Sigalko or
Totti as well.
Yeah, Totti can do. Yeah, do you know what, they've stuck with something for nearly the whole iteration as it stands, and it stood him in good stead. He's done some good business down the line, and he just got stronger and stronger every season, and he's definitely with a massive shout of getting over that final line this time.
Can I just ask, are you definitely got the right tactics? Because every game so far I've seen that the tactic file says it's against a completely different team.
Yeah, a lot of managers are at the point now where they're going unchanged when they're winning, so we don't have to change the name.
That's all right. Fair enough. So obviously it's a one-man team against a very, very good team with six forwards. So I think this one should be the one that has lots of goals, which now I've said it means it's going to be more. Yeah, guaranteed. Yeah, nailed on.
Steve?
Yeah, 1 apiece. I'm going to get on fence for this one.
1 apiece. Top sides playing out a board draw. Macca has gone straight in with a 3-1 Burn. And Greaves is saying Henry is living on what he did while at Astor.
Which you were very good at.
He shouldn't be able to sleep at night after what he did against Ireland. So go fuck himself.
Which he hadn't done by this point, to be honest.
This isn't real life, mate. Just want to point that out again.
We've got another injury to discuss now. Prutton, who you spoke about, Smuts, as a player who develops very well, he's now gone off injured. Bishkan, the obvious replacement.
Yeah, he's probably your only option, really, isn't he? Unless he can't even go to 4 at the back because he's only got 2 defenders. So.
Macca has confirmed that Bishkan is the way he wants to go. It's not exactly weakening the team having him come on, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not a big difference, and if anyone can, Bishkan. So.
Oh God, I'm so glad I had you two on together for just this kind of content. We're approaching half-time then, and as was predicted, not much in the way of goals, that's for sure. Mega Horse pointing out that there's been a lot of injuries tonight. This is kind of like the...
that is very even.
Yeah, this is kind of like if you go back, I don't know, 8-9 years when the likes of Man United and Chelsea would go head-to-head and nothing would happen for 90 minutes despite Sky's massive build-up. It's not exactly been a classic, has it, Steve?
No, but the way Max set up last couple of weeks, he sort of alluded to he was going back to trying to grind some games out with some posts about going to the Temple, etc. And there's no better team to try and be a bit defensive against than Burn, because obviously everybody's seen how dangerous they are. Albeit that
one of their players is.
Albeit up until the last sort of couple of weeks, but they've been grinding results out, but haven't been the attacking force have been. So I look at that and you just think they've got a big step up this second half of Foolchester.
Yeah, when you're against Burn, to have that many players rating 6s, you don't see a draw being held on to, do you?
I don't know. I look at it the other way, that there won't be that many 6s come full time.
Yeah, very good, very true.
Yeah, more 5s, I'd imagine.
Speaking of 5s, Smuts, Iron Robin.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a limp dick of a game so far, isn't he? And I think that a limp dick is probably 2 words that would describe the entire game so far. Absolutely fuck all has happened. And when you look at the amount of attacking talent that's on the pitch, you are very much not surprised, because I said it was going to be a high-scoring game.
Well, Macca's first to confirm a sub at halftime. Ramsey coming on for Nedved. Just wait for Ian's traditional no changes or as is.
But yeah, I mean, looking at that though, that a little bit surprising for me, because obviously Nedved, as much as he's chastised for not being as good as he should be on the game, he can still create that little bit. I know Ramsey looks all right, but fair play to Mac for having bollocks to do it.
As expected, Burn go as is. So we've kicked off the second half, and now a red card. Are we going to see one at the back?
No, Biscamp pull back, in my opinion, but central. But maybe even Veron back, because he can do it there with an arrow.
Centre back?
No, Biscamp back, Veron back. I don't know.
So Ryan's still commenting on the sub while we're waiting on the red card. Drop Biscamp back is confirmed. Yeah. And then are we just making Butt central? If we can just confirm, please, Macca.
For me, I'd be bringing Ramsey back into the middle as well.
No, he is confirmed Butt central. So we carry
I'd have a flat 4 across the middle for me, but just to see it out.
See out the 0-0 with the best part of 40 minutes to play.
Exactly. Yeah.
We resume the game then. Burn at home with an extra man. Are you both at this point expecting them to go on and win the game?
Yeah. Which means they won't. Sorry.
I've always just said a red card seems to help teams more, but I think over the last couple of seasons in Super League, it's certainly done. So
Macca's already wanting to put in an official complaint about the referee. We can see that Burn do seem to be having the better of it, as expected, but Foolchester's certainly not out of it. And now we're seeing the likes of Ronaldo's name. Oh, it's Wayne Dade, of course. Wayne Dade's in charge. He's always going to steal the headlines.
Fairness, Dwayne Wade was a very good basketball player as well, so it's a surprise to see him refereeing.
Weird.
We're into the final few minutes, and it is still Foolchester attacking, trying to get what would be a massive win under the circumstances. Michael Owen with a chance, but Burn hold firm, and now they're on coming forward, and maybe one last chance. Absolute hatchet job, says Macca. And are Byrne going to steal it at the end? Henri puts it wide. He should have finished it, you'd imagine. It's finished 0-0.
If he'd used his hand, it would have gone in. Dirty. Fair play, Foolchester. Absolutely under the cosh all the way through that second half and batten down the hatches, man the doors. Jose Mourinho, 11 at the back. Fair
10
play.
at the back because they had a red card.
That's a good point. Yeah, 10 at the back. 9 if you take the keeper out. Yeah, fair play. You if you're Mackie, you're taking that and running. That's the 0-0 equivalent of a smash and grab job. It really is. It's a fair play.
And Steve, when you look at Northern Byrne, will they be frustrated that they've not imposed themselves more on the game and gone on to win it?
I'd certainly say so, especially with 5-8 standing against a team that didn't get one. But then again, as much as on the stats, it seemed like Foolchester won at Kosh, Jeremy's there with man at match. So it shows that they were having a lot of ball in and around that AMC area and they were having to do a lot of work. But yeah, Maxim has one shot on target and squeaks at an 8, which probably
it's a bit of a joke. You've got to look at the key players there who have got 6s. Your Totti, your Keane, and your Terry Henry. They are the spine of your team there. And if they're not performing,
I've got to say, I respect the audacity of you there, Mr. Smuts, knowing that your good lady is no more than probably 80 yards from where you're sat, and you're saying that you've got to look at your Totti.
Yeah, exactly. Top Totti, mate. And he very much wasn't. He was more of a, your loaded magazine quality Totti rather than your Pornhub. You've got to have a look at yourself there.
Well, we're not going to Dudley Hill Dragons next. Let's go to Gazelles versus Churchtown. And this is the side, I believe both, I'm not sure if it was a pre-arranged agreement or not. I imagine knowing the two it is, but both sides have matched up man for man tactically, Steve. What do you think to the Gazelles 11?
No, I certainly don't think it was that. I definitely think it was more that Duggan knew Dimble wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
So he thought we'd have a dig. Massive interest to see how Gallardo goes, really.
Yep.
And dropping Cafu for Stevie Gerrard is it's massive, that.
That was the one I'd hope you'd notice.
Yeah, Gerrard in centre with Cafu at right wing back. Probably looks a little bit stronger, but he's been, I think, from outside league transfers, he's probably one of the better ones, as Richie Wellens. He's had his ups and downs, but he's contributed a little bit.
Shit. That's the best Richie Wellens I've seen, but I don't get Duggan's obsession with him. When he played for Leicester, he was shit, and on this game, he looked shit as well. So
yeah, but Gallardo though, he is good. He's probably had a rough deal and probably should have played more for the deal, but
he's better than most of the players you've got. What have you been doing?
Well, no, he's not. But yeah.
It's another odd one. They've got a class centre half pair in there. They've got Gerrard, who's a very good player. But outside of that, not a lot of the big names, you'd say. Maybe Raul at a push.
Raul is another one of those players who seems to drastically underperform in the Super League, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 20s he's got there, and in high numbers in the right positions: 18 acceleration, 19 agility, 18 passing, 18 pace, 20 finishing, 20 determination, flair. He should be doing a lot better than three goals and 3 assists in 20 games, and barely a 7. You got to look at the manager there, to be honest.
Gallardo taking the number 40 shirt. And Steve, as we say, Churchtown, same tactically. Another team who have made use of some reserve changes, including Boateng coming back into the team.
Yeah, I mean, I like him on the game. I've never ever tried him in centre midfield, and Akam Milde's been doing a really, really good job in that central midfield role. So I can see why he's done it. Try and break things up a bit more, but I think it's probably the best Akam Milde I've ever seen as well on a save. So yeah, I mean, his stats are a bit lifted there, and everything 7.24. So yeah, you know what, he's tried a bit of something, but when you've gone out and you've put that performance in and you won like you have done, you can't change anything, can you?
No, absolutely. Santa Cruz is an interesting one for me. No, it's not Santa. It wasn't Santa Cruz. Was it? Who was the other one that got promoted? There was another player promoted, and I can't remember who it was. Never mind. Let's go to kickoff. Steve, your prediction first, please.
3-2 either way. I can't call it, but 3-2 either way.
3-2 either way. And Mr. Smuts?
Well, on paper, Churchtown have got the better team. Their back four, which should be a back four, is very strong, so they should be pretty tight at the back, shouldn't concede. I think I'm going to say 0-0, hoping that there's going to be some goals, but I genuinely actually think it's going to be a 0-0 here because they've gone out to entertain specifically.
and you think they won't because of that?
Exactly because it's me.
And another red card. What is going on tonight?
You just drag Raquelme across there and put the arrow up, to be fair. Just crack on with it. I don't think he's here, is he?
No, Dimple has been about in the chat, so we'll give him. But we also know that he's got a few things on at home at the moment, so I'll give him 30 seconds just to confirm that he's happy with that, and then we'll play on. Steve, why do you think we're seeing so many red cards tonight?
They do seem to come in a glut in one night, don't they? Don't know.
I can't believe Roy Keane's not one of them.
He got a yellow though, I noticed. So it's hard to say it, but it does happen. Oh, there we go.
Well, straight away, Raoul, who we criticised before kick-off for not doing as well, he comes in with a goal.
Good to see.
And there's a lot of Churchtown text still. They're still very much in it.
That's probably the closest Richie Wellens has ever got to doing anything. He's just hit the crossbar. Fair play.
And Del Piero with a chance as well. Ian pointing out on your previous comment, Keane is still suspended because of his yellow cards.
Standard.
So once again, he manages one appearance before disappearing again. We've got to half-time, and the Gazelles have been slightly better statistically, but not really making their man advantage count yet, Steve?
No, I mean, obviously they've spread a couple of extra chances in from somewhere. I think that 29% at half-time tackle percentage one, I think that's one of the lowest I've seen. I'm sure Swanee will be able to tell us more than anybody. That's extremely low for half-time. Probably explains why they're a goal down. But these sort of formations, you're either going to go and you're going to win, or you're going to lose a lot of ground, a lot of ball, and you are going to get put on back foot quite, even though they're lining up the same. But Dede looks like he's been the man so far, doesn't he?
And what do we make of Pinardi? Duggan's really given him a bit of a run out at the minute. We've laughed multiple times at how much money he's gone for in the Super League, and he's never contributed anything at any point to anybody, really, has he?
Personally, I don't rate him. He's not somebody. I signed him once on a save over about 6-7 seasons in with Boston, and I don't rate him at all. I see why people do, really can. Everybody's each to their own with certain players, but yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before he's out of the team, but I think everybody deserves a chance when they've been a bit up and down form-wise. So.
And we'll just comment on this sub as well, if we can, Steve. So it's Cafu for Pinardi, and then we're swapping it like that, just to wind Smuts up.
You know what? I'm hoping he's meaning Raoul to the left as well, because that's just bonkers. But
he's also saying if only I had Stalakovic to bring on as well.
Improve your midfield options, in fairness.
So let's have a look at Churchtown. Only one goal down, so still in it, Mr. Smuts, despite the man less.
Yeah, like we said at the start. Well, like I said at the start of the game, he's got the better players on paper, so should still be in it. But he's a man down, and John Terry's thrown one in. So this could go to a couple for the Gazelles, which I'll be honest doesn't really help us.
And Dimble decided to keep it as is, wary of his yellow card situation currently. So we'll kick off the second half, and it is Churchtown who came out the blocks quite quickly. But Dede, who Steve commented seems to be the man with his first of the season, makes it 2-0, and Cafu from the other side makes it 3-0. And this is turning into a very long
I think this is the first time I've ever actually got one right, so that's good.
There's no need to slow this game down at all. We'll put Dimble out of his misery as quickly as we can. Time flew by then. Gazelle's looking for a fourth.
My main issue here is Duggan is going to be insufferable for the next week.
And that is full time. Gazelle's running out winners. You deservedly so.
That's a canter, to be fair.
So, Mr. Sparks, do you want to comment on the Gazelles' performance there?
Not really, because I'm only going to be blowing smoke up Duggan's arse, to be fair. Gerard obviously being moved around the pitch has not helped him, so I'm not really going to knock him for only getting a 6. But yeah, your key players there are getting 9s, aren't they? Both your fullbacks.
Zayleus as well.
Exactly. You look at Materazzi, he's a very, very good player. Raul, we picked him up at the start of the game as should be doing more, and you can't say fairer than that, really, can you?
And C. Duggan's put there that the red card helped them out massively. When you look at the Churchtown stats, do you agree with that? Do you see the game might have panned out differently if it was 11v11?
Probably so, but it'd have been interesting if Magnus Edman lost his head as well, which it's been unlike him this season. He's been really good.
Yep.
He's been very, very good. But even the best keepers are inclined to do it out there every now and then. So, but a couple of players probably not coming to the party as he should. Obviously, Del Piero, who's been a bit up and down. Obviously, Tim Ricard didn't help at all, but that's not an overall. If you take the Edmund 5 out of it and the red card, it's not a bad performance.
No,
and it's certainly not a 3-0 losing performance on that. The Gazelles were obviously just clinical when it come to it.
Well, congratulations to Gazelles, whose faint top 6 hopes continue. Churchtown, you would suggest now out of it?
Maybe so, mate. Yeah, maybe so. It'll be hard. They'll have to go win every game of these last 5 to really put themselves among it. Sorry. So yeah, maybe so.
Well, we move on to Bostock Stanley versus the Devils, which is a massive, massive game. There was just, I'm trying to remember now, Bostock. There was just the one change. Silvestri coming in for the suspended live, Steve.
Yeah, I like Silvestri on the game. I think he's very, very good, very solid. And yeah, you're not going to move Ndai back at all, are you? And bring somebody else into that position. So, and why not? He were only 2-0 to beat Aston, but it were a lot more convincing and a lot more dominant than the stats perceived as well. It were a lot more dominant on stats. So yeah, why would you change it up? And you know what? He took a leaflet out of Tato's book with the asymmetric.
Steve, how many players have you let go out on loan to other teams?
2.
Just the 2? It's like every team seems to have a Dudley player.
Well, if you look across the league from the first draft, everybody probably has. So, which we're commenting a week ago, but yeah, there's no need to change anything. Massively dangerous, and with what they've got. So, yeah, and I know he's never beat Odgie, so he's obviously looking to get one over.
And Smuts, the Devils team, just the one change again from memory, and it's that grand final goal scorer, Mido, comes in for his first appearance of the season in place of Ventila up front, and Penza moving to the other side. And Amar continues to play despite only being 90% fitness. Not too much of a concern, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would have probably looked to play Harry Kewell instead of Aymar, to be honest, with him being slightly less fit, but 90% is not a massive dip, is it? To be fair, he's got again. That is a very, very, very good side. In fairness, I love Emerson. Fantastic player. Probably the weakest area there for him, unfortunately, is the most overpowered position in the game is DMCs.
Well, I'm interested on your thoughts on that, because under the previous management, that was also said that defensive midfield was the weakest position. Now, Oya played under me, but, well, I say he played. He was in the reserves because he couldn't get a game. Soroczynski is one of the few players Hodgie did bring in to improve the side. But you still don't perceive that as being particularly strong?
For me, I think the best defensive midfielder you've got there is playing right back. So that's an odd one for me, but...
Oh, no. No. I'm not having that at all. I'm not having that at all.
I rate Kieran Dyer on this game massively.
No, I rate Kieran Dyer massively, but not you have him right wing back, and that is where you keep him for the entire season.
No, not for me.
I'm in agreement with 5 here.
Hodgie didn't know something. I'm guessing he's referring to the Aymar injury. He must have missed that in his pack. So now you've seen both teams, Mr. Smuts, what is your score prediction, please?
I think it would probably be a Stanley win. I think it will be fairly close. I think you're looking at a 1-goal swing one way or another.
Okay.
Go on then. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Bostock Stanley, which means it's going to be a 7-goal thriller.
Steve?
I'm going to go one apiece. I know it's obviously back as Scott said all the time, every time he plays Odgie, but Odgie's got the tactics and nous to play that defensive resilience. So yeah, one apiece.
Okay. Ian going 2-0. Duggan asking Bostock to keep their faint hopes alive. Greavesy, as always, predicting 0-0. Let's kick off as two of the top sides in the division go head-to-head. And Ian again pointing out about the injured Aymar. It's worth noting, I do know what the injury is, and it's nothing serious, so I wouldn't be unduly concerned about playing him.
Sprained wrist then.
And it is Mido, the player I pointed out, scored in the grand final, and then the injured Aymar gets properly injured. I'm imagining Harry Kuehl will be getting called upon.
You'd be surprised if he wasn't.
We will get that one set up ready. Hodgie was there. I knew I'd seen his name a second ago. So we'll just wait for him to say yes. But yes, Mido, whose last senior appearance was the grand final against Dragons, he scored in that game, and now he's scored in this. Perhaps a player, Steve, who will be getting more of a run out?
Obviously he's getting there now, isn't he? As we move on in the seasons, he's decent on the game, and he played a bit for you. Did he score in playoffs for you last season, if I remember right?
He scored a couple.
Scored in the final, as he said 5 times already, Steve. You know full well I didn't watch the final, and I know that he scored in the final because he's mentioned it 5 times in the last 5 minutes. Mrs. Smuts is sat to my right, and she knows that he scored in the final.
Wow, you look at.
And I will also say, if Mido is going free, we'll take him at the Dragons quite happily. If you don't want him,
Steve, Bostock have created the most chances, but have been very wasteful. Devils have created next to nothing, but been ruthless.
Obviously, it'd be interesting to see who's on long shots for Scott. And it's one of them, 1 goal, 1 conceding and a half. It's up there. Is Andre on a 5 or is he on a 6? It can be up there. But, they're obviously creating enough to get in a position they think they can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But Asani things as per he's been a massive part, as has Lee Bowyer has really, but Asani's been, I think, key to the strength that Bostock have had this season. Going to be a really interesting second half.
And when you look at the Devils team, Mr. Smuts, are you looking at it, and when you see the likes of Nestor Montero, Soroczynski, they look like they have enough to see this out. I mean, one thing I will say that Hodgie...
Are we putting Sorochinsky, in the same bracket as Nestor and Montero?
No, I'm just saying when you see them as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, again, that back two is fantastic. You should have two fullbacks next to him, obviously, but I'll keep beating that drum. Emerson, for me, is the one who is the outstanding player on that team outside of Nestor.
And he's putting in arguably the most meh performance.
Exactly, yeah, because I picked on him immediately. Mido is obviously done very well coming in. He's made the difference, and fair play to him.
Barry Ferguson is coming on, the man whose shirt I've been wearing today, courtesy of Citizen Edwards. And he is coming on for the very meh Emerson.
There you go. Shows what I know.
Let's kick off the second half then and see what happens. Something looked harsh straight from kickoff there. I didn't quite see what it was though. Seeing again all the attacking names for both sides. You're seeing their names popping up in the text commentary there.
Yeah, you're right. Lids Razoo, Boya, Dyer.
And Penza hits the upright as we slow the commentary down for the last 10 minutes. Here come Bostock again, Jax, but Montero does his job, and now Cure comes forward, but he's blocked by Lasisi. Mido and Mpenza, Ferguson. No, Sylvester gets in the way. We're heading towards injury time. I was going to say at half-time, the one thing Hodgie is far superior to me at is he's got this Devils team actually being able to defend.
I think Sorochinsky might be key to that as well. He's fantastic in defensive midfielder. You know, he was massive for Liddisford, and I think he's proving the same again here.
And will we have one more chance? It looks like it's the Devils going for a second. The corner kick, and there's the final whistle. Devils win 1-0.
Well, it is the 1-0 I predicted. It's not the way I predicted it, but I'll take it.
And for the chasing pack, I mean, when they see this result, the likes of Gazelles, they won't be too happy, will they?
No, Dragons are furious.
Steve, let's come to you first then. I'm imagining when I click onto the Devil stats here, it's going to have been a fantastic rearguard action because Bostock, again, they created, although not too much in the second half, both the chances they created were on target at least. They tried, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, but you still look, though, that the ratings aren't there as if they've been really under the pump. Obviously, Montero's done really well. And it'll be massively frustrating for Scott because it's one of his. He's a proud man on this game. Is Scott, as we all are, and he's been waiting and wanting that one over to get that bubble burst. But yeah, it's not a performance of domination really. Just solid in. I think, like I say, Montero there with 10 of his 15 tackles won. They were really good.
And
looking at those stats, you would actually say that that probably the rearguard action that was better was Scott and Bostock there. I mean, probably the best rearguard action we've seen since Stefan Posma. With Sylvester and Lasisi there both getting 8s and Dye in front of him only getting a 9.
And Steve, Steve mentioned earlier that there is this track record of Scott not being able to beat Hodgie. Even on a game like this, does that start to play on people's minds?
If he does, he's a numpty. Why? It's not real life.
But
these players are 1s and 0s. They will not be thinking about that because they can't think. Right, it's a game of chance. If Scott has looked at this game and gone, "Oh no, I'm not going to win because I didn't win the other 3 games we played," then that is not a winning mentality. And he will no longer win the league. I've taken my decision away. I thought he would win the league. He's not going to anymore.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to agree. I don't know if it would have come through clearly for everyone watching, but I'm going to agree with what Steve said there, and that is definitely the view of someone who is not a long-term Super League manager, because those sorts of things definitely play on people's minds.
Well, they shouldn't. And if Jamie's thinking like that, I will be having words with him.
Well, congratulations to Hodgie, commiserations to Scott as the Devils continue to make moves to secure their top 6 spot. Where are we now? We are on to the penultimate game, and as promised, Mr. Megahorse, who is still in the chat, we have saved you till second last. I can't remember who's done what games now, so I will say, Mr. Smuts, you can take the Leddersford team.
Excellent. That backwards arrow is still stupid. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Other than that, I don't know the left winger there. Not a player I'm familiar with. I know Dan's got a lot of weird players that he knows that I don't, but I don't play wingers, so that'd be why I don't know who he is. That is some very good figures, in fairness.
And here's where I was getting confused earlier, looking for a player who wasn't there. John Carew has been promoted from the reserves and come straight back into the lineup.
Who was the other option up front?
He's replaced Torres.
That's, again, really stupid. Has Torres not been fantastic for every game he's played in? And he's not even on the bench.
Well, he's got 4 6s in a row.
Fantastic in every game he's played in. Yeah, fair enough, drop him. 20 for finishing. What's Constantino been up to? Has he done anything?
He hasn't really featured, but he has scored 2 in 4 starts.
He's done really well in the non-competitive games.
And
which some would suggest is every game against Dragons.
Steve, let's have a look at the Loco side, and Greavesy's changed it up slightly with the tactic fan service.
Yeah, I mean, he messaged me and said they were going for it. This is going for it for Greavesy, which is still reserved for a few people, I should imagine. Tinetto, I would say, probably the best out-league transfer that's happened. He's been superb. I never knew about him until Greavesy talked about him, and I've actually seen him with better stats in that sense. But Montalvo and Zaghi, I think they both play better in the 2 up top. Eddie Guerrero, since he's been fit again, been doing bits, scoring goals. His thing is, again, getting Zidane working, which has been a thorn in the side for every single person, apart from Scott for a spell, where I think after about 5 games, he had 3 10s and 2 8s or something in a little bit of a spell in back end of last season, was it? Or season 4. So yeah, it's good reading. I mean, the fact that he still ended up barely 7 and just over 7 after having that 5 run of games with 3 10s in them says a lot. But I think it's going as far as close to what Greavesy can put out and be a strongest side, I think.
And what's your prediction for it, please, Steve?
Greavesy don't lose at home. Dan getting back on. I'm going to go for, because he's changed it up and gone a little bit more attacking, I'm going to go 1-0 Leddersford.
And Smuts?
Great teeth.
I think Dan is right in there in saying that the subs that Boston have got there will keep a toe in the match, or at the very least in his daughter's mouth. This is going to be one of them sort of tactical battles, I think, where it's going to be close. I'd like to see a Leddersford win, but not sure. Go on then, I'm going to stick my cock on the block and we'll go Leddersford 1-0.
So both back in Leddersford, and good evening to Caesar, who's not a name I recognise from the chat regulars. So welcome. I hope you enjoy what's left of tonight's Super League show.
I like the answer there, as well as how's it going, mate? Brazil.
Yeah.
He asked how's it going and not how's your trim.
And I think while you said that, Loco may have had a goal disallowed, and then Leddersford took a 1-0 lead. So you're both very much in for your 1-0 prediction now. 25 minutes in, and it looks fairly even. Excuse me. I'll just grab some water. That's better. And we're just coming up to half-time. Loco still trying to push for an equaliser, but it's not to be. Leddersford certainly creating, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, the off-target is probably a little bit worrying. Obviously, I know Dan's, as much as he's played this formation quite a lot, I know he's tweaked it quite a lot in terms of every time he's put it out.
Yeah, so this is version 7.
Yeah, Loco in themselves have been, been really decent there, 4 on target, and Taibbi doing Taibbi things. He's very, very good. Obviously, Anjog, but when Odger were in charge, were superb and probably the most consistent keeper in the league. But Dan, obviously knowing the database like Rain Man inside and out, knows that Taibbi's never going to throw in a Man United v Southampton and probably match fixing thing that he's got going on. So I think solid from him. But looking at the stats, it shows that Loco coming forward, if they come forward again, they'll put a bit more pressure on, and I probably won't be surprised to see a goal from him in the second half.
Well, let's click over to the home side while we wait to see if there's any subs being made, Smuts. And Zidane on his 7, got Petit there on a 9. Petit's been quite underrated, I think. He generally puts in a good shift for Loco.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably only one word really here that can describe how this is going, and that's Brazil.
Well, quite. And another new name appearing in the chat, pointing out these tactics are mental. In the Super League, you have to go big or you go home.
No, you don't. You can play 4 at the back and still be average.
I did see a sub to be made. Where is it? Oh yeah, there it is. Pat off for Ambrosini.
And obviously, Big Ass is obviously Big Gaz Johnson.
Oh, Big Gaz, of course, mate. Yes.
Oh, here we are.
To have you. We were all here to see me. Let's be fair, top man. Good to have you. He's getting involved after seeing me streaming for 24 hours.
And you insulted him after about 24 seconds. Scott pointing out to your comment. I mean, we don't want to detract from this game, but you making a big shout for
Talk about me.
Scott pointing out that you played a flat 4 and didn't even have a shot in your last game.
In one game, yeah. Against top of the league, if I remember rightly. And didn't we draw 0-0?
And Loco do score, and it is Guerrero who levels things up, and they're coming forward again, looking for a quick fire double. You're so immature. Oh, I've slowed that down far too late. I do apologise to both managers. But could Leddersford get a late winner? No. It's finished 1-1. Fairly even game, Steve, and it's just from a Leddersford perspective, it's being wasteful in front of goal.
Yeah, well, they've created nothing in that second half. That's where they want to end at first half. And I did say from where they've gone on, they can go on and get a goal. Boston second half, I think it's really good. Eddie Guerrero has been really good when he's been on pitch for Boston this season. They're not easy to break down, not easy to beat, but they just seem like Leddersford at the minute. You've got a bit of a chance of not getting rolled over by them over the last few weeks. So, obviously, Dan, they're more than settled in top 6. Sorry for me, but again, it's a Greaves who won all, grinding out a result. Is it coming a bit too late in the season though? That's probably what it doesn't need.
We disappointed not to see Scholes come on, Smuts?
Very much so, because I've got loads of jokes lined up, which is obviously no small feat at this moment in time. to make Paul Scholes jokes.
That one was very subtle, but I did appreciate that one.
I made a big point of having a big pause straight after the joke as well. Yeah, I mean, fair play. It's the three main players for Leathersford were all defensive players, and you've got to have a word with your forwards there. You really do. If you're having as many shots as the other team, and only two of them are on target, and your main goal scoring threat is your defensive midfielder, you're worrying, aren't you? You're worrying. If you're Dan, I would be going all out to be throwing money at strikers in the transfer window.
Well, you've done well to last this long without mentioning the word transfers, so I'll let you off that one. Looks like both managers are quite happy to take the point, so we move on to the main event of the evening, and it's Dudley Hill versus Dragons. So as we're on Dragons, Smuts, will start with you. The information, if I remember this well, Davids is playing defensive midfielder, reference your earlier.
Fantastic. That's exactly what I knew was going to happen.
Saeed's come in or moved in place of West. Figo's gone into midfield, and Emerton's dropped back to right back as Zawi goes to left back, I believe, were the changes.
Yeah, I mean, Saeed into left centre back is the main sort of change we've made. As I found out last night, about 2 a.m, that Saeed is actually left-footed as well as right-footed, and is, for me, a better player than Taribo West.
Just to confirm, he has 2 feet, yes?
He does indeed have 2 feet. Don't know about his third leg. He could have a foot attached to the end of that. I don't know. Probably not. That's more of a Paul Scholes thing than a Ibrahim Saeed thing. Looks a decent player. I mean, for me, the worry here is that we don't have Boomer. So we've had to put Zawi out to the left, and Brett Emerton is not as good a right back as Zawi is. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're sticking to our guns, my guns, of playing 4 at the back, as is the way I have sort of laid my cards on the table. Fair play for Jamie, not giving a shit enough at this point in the season to go, but fuck it, just do what you want. But I'll be honest,
Jamie is a man of pride and principle, and he wouldn't want you just completely pissing about with it and ruining his reputation.
You can't say that I'm pissing about. Looking at the 11 players on the pitch, they're all. I don't think you could look at any on there and say not particularly the best player in the best position at the best time. So.
And Steve, when you look at this team, is there anything that particularly concerns you?
Mainly the anomaly that we're at home as well and liable to throw a stinker in. I'm not confident it's like it's not. I've been more confident in previous games. Than I am in this.
Well, just while we click on to let Smuts see what your team is, I'm just scrolling through the comments. Scott's already gone in with a big 4-0 Dudley win, a goal for each of the Dragons defenders.
Actually, he said a goal for each of the Dragons defender, which is grammatically incorrect, as well as playing 2 at the back is very much incorrect.
And Duggan commenting on the state of these Dragons now is criminal.
No, again, he's just said criminal. He's not said is criminal. So,
Steve, talk us through your team.
Lost my ass a bit, in honesty. It's been this formation, this setup's been decent defensively, and the fact that they've scored that many goals, I sort of said prior that we're going to start having a bit of fun, but then you want to get yourself up the bottom of the table before anything like that can happen. So Chris Perry's been very good. He's had 1-8 rest 7s. He's really shored us up a bit. I think we've conceded 6 in his last 5, which for us is pretty decent. And Big Luca's doing really well, whether he's in a 1 or a 2.
How many did you say? 6 in your last 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in your last 5.
I made that 8 in the last 5. Yeah.
Yeah, one that I was looking at then. I don't know what I was looking at. But yeah, no, it shows how much I've overthought things for this game, because they've been there to be got at. We fought it back. It's whether we can do.
I don't know, Doug, and I'm watching this game instead of the Bears game. We started at 9:25. So how are the Bears doing? That would be nice to know.
Well, before you start talking non-Super League nonsense, let's get. Well, do either of you want to make a prediction? I know a lot of people, when their team are playing, they don't want to predict.
No, I don't, because if I wasn't playing against four at back of a Dragon side that can score a stupid amount of goals, I'd have quite easily said I'm even confident at home here, but I'm not. I'm more than happy to get myself up at the bottom of the table. Luca Toni might score, though. I think that's an easy enough prediction.
Smuts?
Yeah, for me, it's Luca Toni against Patrick Kluivert today. Everybody else is completely irrelevant.
Well, it's a massive battle at the bottom of the division, and it's Dudley who scored first. Kaká with his first goal. No one else can see the reactions, but I don't even really have to watch the commentary. Amoruso makes it 2-0. Smuts has disappeared briefly off the screen. Stee is pointing and kissing the Dudley badge on his shirt.
I'll take it all back. Let's get 2 at the back, Jamie, yeah?
And Duggan also pointing out that Kaká is a former Dragon as well. Steve, let's come to you first as the home side. 2-0 up, dominating the stats. You must be delighted.
Yeah, 2 on target. It's probably Kyoto's throwing a 5 in. We've been solid. Kaká were in there for that reason, and that reason only, against his former side. So, yeah, no changes needed, nothing there. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Smuts, what's going wrong other than everything?
Everything, yeah. Well, I'm glad Lucio's playing. That's all I've got. That's all I've got for you.
Interesting that the one defender that's been commented on in the chat is actually the one defender who is attempting to defend.
Yeah, the one defender I said I didn't really want playing in defence is Brett Emerton, and he's the one who's fucking dog shit. So, cheers for throwing that one in, Jamie. Much appreciated.
David's slinging his ex-manager a solid, I reckon. That's probably what.
Fucking hell.
Never seen him have a 5.
It was. I believe the quote was, "You have to have your best defensive midfielder playing."
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. And he's not turned up today at all, has he? He really hasn't. I'm going to need to make changes, but I'll be honest, the changes that Jamie's left me on the bench are not helpful at all. I can't really make a lot of headway with. I would have rather had Slakovic on the bench, I'll be honest.
Ex-Dudley as well, so he'll sling me a solid as well.
Yeah, I'm going to need to do something. I wonder if, because you are taking, almost record-breaking length of time to even just scour your own subs bench before making a decision. I wonder if Mrs. Smuts was around to just tell us if you're this indecisive in life generally.
I used to be indecisive. Not so sure anymore.
Very good.
Get Hargreaves on for Joe Cole. We'll get David into the middle, Hargreaves back.
Like that?
Yeah, there we go. And then Figo swap for Kerr.
Like that?
Yeah.
Happy?
Not really. I'll be losing 2-0, but, the fuck else can I do, really?
Tomadera?
I'll tell you what, let's bring West on for Emerton.
And swap him with Zowry.
And then swap Zowry, yeah.
Even though West is right-footed, but...
Yeah, he can play left back. Fuck it.
You know what? That was my first call in my head, actually.
And I tell you what, I don't know if I can do this. Can we put some arrows on?
No, not allowed to make tactical changes, sorry.
Bullshit. Fuck this league. Team Swamp all day.
Let's kick off the second half then and see what happens. Will the substitutes have an impact? We've already passed the hour mark. They haven't so far. Given the last game.
Nobody on the team has had any impact, so I don't really.
I'm only slowing it down because it's the last game and you're both on commentary. Steve can really... He's not had many opportunities to enjoy the last 10 minutes of one of his own games this season, so the glasses are off. He's confident. If only everyone in the chat could see the smile on Steve's face. He's so happy.
I really wish this wasn't the week before we're all meeting up as well.
There'll be no mention of it, mate. No mention of it.
Ian in the chat, very, very poignant comment. Haha, arrows on 4 at the back. It'll be 2 at the back next week. We're approaching full time.
Absolute.
Is there a consolation?
To be honest, I think it's supposed to have arrows on the back, and Jamie keeps forgetting to put them on, but never mind.
I think the main thing, Clivert can't beat Finland.
Steve has taken his top off and is waving it round the camera for us. Smuts is looking very glum, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's not gone to plan at all.
Congratulations, Steve.
At least we had a shot on target. That's the main thing we're going to take from this week, is that in 3 games we've now had 3 shots on target.
And Steve, if I can ask you for your instant reaction as well, please.
Yeah, just delighted to be 12th, mate. I'm on first page now. Look at that.
Scott say get your sack out, Steve. Well, let's see how that has... Oh, did I go through your stats each with you? Did you both get a chance to see that as well?
I mean, I'd rather not see mine. That's two 5s in a row for Joe Cole. So if anybody wants Joe Cole, give me a quick shout. He is now officially on the fucking chopping block, little prick.
Like Kaka, don't you? I didn't see my stats. I think you clicked off him. Just have a...
You got better stats than I got.
I'm guessing I did. But I'll tell you what, Rustico over the last few weeks has been superb. You just want to click on him 5 feet. He's been very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, look at those ratings. Last 4 games, 9.899.
And I think that's Chris Perry side of him, calming him down. Not that bloody idiot Ayala. No, delighted with that. Look at that.
So Dudley Hill do make the page 1, as Steve alluded to. Burn continue to lead the way.
Always preferred page 3 anyway. So
they are 4 points clear of Bostock in second, who are a point ahead of Foolchester. Have a 3-point gap to Devils and Sloths. Ledesford a further point behind. But crucially at this stage, they have a 4-point gap to the team directly below the dotted line. Astor still very much in the mix. Loco and Gazelles, 5 points outside the top 6. Haggis 6 points outside. With 5 games to go, Steve, in your experience, where are we saying that the line is for teams who can still make it?
Oh, what are we? We've got 15 points to play for. Put them on 36.
Above Dragons.
It's back on. It's back on. No, it's not
Steve,
back on.
it's not back on. I will dash the dreams here.
I would suggest maybe Gazelles upwards, and that's a push.
So are you saying that Haggis are probably out of it with 6 points?
Yeah, I mean, Haggis have been dog shit the last 2 weeks, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, it means they've got a turn of form though. I think if Haggis can win 4 out of the last 5, they've definitely got a chance.
He's not got Dragons to play again, so he's definitely not got at least 3 points there.
Well, let's have a quick look at the upcoming games then. So Dragons play Devils next. They're usually entertaining fixtures, or at least they were when me and Jamie were in charge. The games that stand out.
Jamie's still in charge.
Sloths and Gazelles is going to be crucial, you would imagine. Foolchester Bostock could be entertaining on Wednesday night as well with Ryan. Where else are we looking? Loco Burn will be a tactical grudge match. Astor Ledesford is a massive game.
I take back everything I said about Haggis before. I really hope he does very well next week.
But looking at that, last chance saloon for Greavesy next week, I think, in terms of Beckinet. like I say, Leddersford Aster, massive. I think Foolchester Bostock's probably not as imperative as it might seem on paper.
No, it's just a big game because it's 2 of the top 3.
Yeah, but Gazelles Sloths as well. I think them 3 games there, Gazelles Sloths, Leddersford Aster, and Local Burn are massive.
Leddersford Aster, particularly, very, very big game. If there's only 4 points between them, there's a 3-point swing there. If Leddersford lose, you're shitting your pants if you miss the mega horse there.
And then next Sunday, I've got the joys of seeing Devils host Foolchester, Sloths Leddersford, Burn Gazelles. That's huge games. Haggis Churchtown would be potentially looking less important at that point. Dudley Loco, Halls Bostock, and Aster v Dragons. Let's flick back to the table, have a quick scroll down the bottom. Halls are now bottom of the table on goal difference. Dragons ahead of them. Dudley are a point clear, and Churchtown, crucially, 4 points clear. Quick flick through the player stats for you as well, then, lads, before we finish, and I thank you for your time. Not much change at the top of the average ratings. Scalco continues to lead the way. Clivert's still there, but he's not looking like scoring many at the moment, sadly for him. ZZ Roberts continues to impress. He's up into double figures now. And Penzer's still hovering. If we have a look at assists, Aymar still fending off Zé Roberto. Beckham's still up there as well. It's certainly going to shape up to be an interesting last 5 games, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, massively. I didn't realise that Van Bommel were up there with assists, actually. But, I mean, what we got there, 19, 27, 8 goal, 24, 6, we've got 9 goals. We need to beat Churchtown 2-0 to go up to 11th next time out, which won't happen. Dims as a way of... He should have beat me last game of last season. Really. Well, I don't know if it were him or Kieran, and I crept off at bottom last game of the season, scraping a 2-2 draw, which is going to be massive for us. But yeah, it's getting to a point where it's getting less and less likely for a lot of teams. And I think the more thing that's going forward is the teams up there down to probably 4th, trying to get in that top 2, because nobody's ever won it out of top 2, if I remember rightly.
Doug and Fifey, what's the genuine chances of a Super League Super Weekend near the end? Tell me what your idea is for a Super League Super Weekend, and I will tell you if it's possible. But until that point, there was one thing I wanted to announce, because I know a few people have been sending messages in regarding this unhappy players transfer list thing that Ryan announced midweek. He is going to be sorting it all after the midweek round of fixtures, so that everyone has had a chance to list who everyone wants to make bids for, etc. So he will be sorting it midweek after the Wednesday round of fixtures, like the last one. Oh, do you mean when I did a stream on the Friday and the Sunday? Is that what you mean? Well,
yeah, that's what he said. Friday, Sunday.
Well, potentially, if managers want that and can confirm that they'll be able to get their squads in, given that my social position hasn't changed in many months now, I'm sure I can fit one in towards the end of the season. Absolutely no problem. If that's what the fans want, then I shall provide. But from me, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Smuts. I look forward to seeing you both on Saturday, but we will certainly be talking throughout the week. Thank you, everyone in the chat. It's been great reading your comments. And until, enjoy the show Wednesday with Ryan. Until next Sunday from me, it's good night from Super League HQ.
Toodles.
That lads.